Warning: the following podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Trespassing is not only illegal, but often incredibly dangerous. The hosts do not condone any activities that could put their listeners in harm's way, and encourage you to proceed with caution and do your research before exploring the unknown. We cannot be held liable for any accidents, injury, or hauntings that may occur. Listener discretion is advised. Why do our waveforms look exactly the same?
I don't know.
That's kind of scaring me.
Hello.
Well, oh my god.
How long were we in for?
Let's see. 16 minutes.
Well,
Hey, what's up, you guys?
so here's the deal.
Oh my god. I'm so mad right now. You know, I know you told me that I shouldn't have given voice to this, but remember that time I told you that one of these days we're bound to have to re-record an episode for some reason?
At least we caught it
Yeah, at least we caught it
before we even got into
Yeah.
it.
So,
Here's the deal.
hold on. Let me redo the intro.
Okay,
Let's
do it.
let's start with that because we're totally gonna have to restart.
Yeah, do it.
Hello and welcome to the Abandonment Issues, a periodical podcast about the past, the paranormal, and the just plain perplexing. And today I am joined here with...
But who are you?
Oh, I'm M.
And I'm the other one, Zack.
And here's the thing. We're a little scattered now because this is our take 2. Because we're recording this at like 10 o'clock at night. We've had a very long day. And we just realized that we've been recording for like almost 17 minutes and only my mic input was on. Like I made the tracks in our software and accidentally set them both to input L, which is mine. So it's just me talking to myself for 17 minutes.
You can faintly hear me in the background.
Yeah.
But it's like this. So welcome
yeah.
to the second one.
Welcome. Have a seat. We're here.
Well,
I feel kind of dumb talking about all the same shit that I just talked about, but
we gotta give them the content.
yeah.
Just splice it in.
I mean, I could do mine, but I can't do
It's
yours.
just me being
so.
silent and chiming in 20 minutes later.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm just
Wow.
gonna like sit down and make you listen to my track, and you can record your own responses.
Wow. Or we could just do like, here, we'll just, okay, here's some B-roll.
Okay.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Sick. Oh, and here's my last one. Mouse turd.
Stop. Oh, that was too loud.
Oh, well.
Oh well. Well,
Well, how are you this week?
I'm pretty good. I just started my new job. By
How's
this
that
point,
going?
by this point, I've been there like 2 weeks, and it's going okay. It's definitely been interesting. I actually have a different work story than the one I just told you
Okay,
that
well.
I can put in here, so we don't have to tell each other the same fucking stories.
Wow, that's crazy.
Damn, that's crazy. So this is another thing that's been on my mind. So where I work, they are kind of like newly, I don't know if it's legally yet required that you get a vaccine, but they're kind of moving towards that, and we all still wear masks and stuff. And I was asking my trainer if that was like a problem, because some people are very opposed. And he was like, most people didn't really mind, like, it's whatever. But we did have a couple that really just hated the idea, and there was this one guy who apparently had worked there for quite a while, and he he quit because, and like by quite a while I mean apparently like several years, He quit because he didn't want to wear the mask. He said he refused to wear that lie on his face. And I just want to give that man an award for the most dramatic bullshit ever because, dude, come on. Come on.
Yeah, like...
Nobody wants to look at your face that bad, first of all.
True. Listen, so I also started a new job, which I feel like I've talked about.
Yeah.
But I love all my coworkers, which is rare. Like, I don't really have any qualms about any of them. But that is something that they... Because where I work, they are making the employees wear a mask. They don't really care about, the patrons. But...
it's much harder to enforce that.
Yeah, but we as employees have to wear them, which is fine.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm vaccinated. I'll wear it. I'm wearing it anyway when I go out in public, so who cares? But, like, the lengths that these people go to, like, find a workaround, it's kind of funny. Like, I was telling you about those face masks that they got yesterday.
Yeah. I kind of want one of those.
They're the ones that, like, they're like the face shields, but opposite. So they, like, sit on your chin and cover your face that way. And they just look so funny. And when any of them talk, it just, like, follows the jaw. So it's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's, like, stuff like that. I'm just like, just wear the mask.
Yeah.
Just wear it. It does not matter. We're just fobbing.
I will say, I do really, now that you have brought that to my attention, I've seen some of those masks that have, like, some people made them where they had, like, a flexible, like, a plastic thing over the mouth. And it was for, like, people who lip read, like, with them in mind. Yeah. Because one of the, unexpected side effects of having to wear a mask is people can't see your lips move. And some people can't hear you. So I would really like to get one of those, but all I can think about when I think about... I haven't seen one of these ones that you're talking about, but in my head, it kind of has an effect of, like, a plastic Halloween skeleton.
Yeah.
And that's super funny to me.
Yeah, that's exactly
But I do think it could be super handy, because the other day I had this guy who came up and he was asking me a question, and I always feel like I'm yelling, but I'm honestly pretty soft-spoken in public because I'm very anxious all the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, can you help me find this book? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I started to tell him where it was. And he was like, you're either going to have to yell at me or you're going to have to, like, let me see your mouth because I lip read. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And, like, I pulled my mask down for him. But it felt very weird to not be wearing it at the desk.
Yeah, and, like, something I've noticed, because I'm a bank teller, but we have that plexiglass
same
thing in front of us, which is fine, but there's some, like, older customers or soft-spoken customers as well, where I'm having to, like, literally come around the plexiglass, which defeats the purpose, but I literally cannot hear them.
Yeah, same.
And they can't hear me. So I appreciate it when it's there for customers that I can hear them and they can hear me.
Yeah.
But sometimes I gotta poke my little head around.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something. Oh! What have we been doing as roommates this month? We've been watching spooky movies.
We have,
I mean, we haven't the past 2 nights.
Past 3 now.
Yeah,
we were gonna watch one tonight. Are you gonna try?
I'm gonna try to.
It's tomorrow. Yeah, you're off tomorrow because it's Sunday. So okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
What's on the agenda for tonight? Do you remember?
Final Destination 2.
I thought that was for last night.
It's Evil Dead 1 and 2 that we missed.
Uh-huh.
And then Final Destination 2 tonight.
Oh, okay. Which one is Final Destination 2?
It's the one with the long truck.
The long truck. Well, it is a long truck. I don't know why in my head that one's 3, but it's definitely, obviously it's not. But I was
the one
thinking,
with the tanning beds.
And the roller coaster. Yep. Yeah, okay. That one, Brownie didn't like that. I slapped my knee and he said, oh. He sounds like a fucking Minecraft guy.
Villager, yeah.
But yeah, I love the little calendar that you made. It's very cute.
It's cute. I'll post it on Twitter.
Yeah. But yeah, we've done, I mean, it's 10 days in. We did 2 Saw movies, like 2 nights in a row. That was fun.
Yeah, we did those. What else? God, what else have we watched? We watched...
The first night, what was the first night?
I don't remember. Let's see. We watched... Well, I watched The Grudge. Maybe that was the first night. And then we watched Ring 1 and 2. Um,
Saw 1 and 2.
Saw 1 and 2.
I feel like there was something in between.
There definitely was. Well, I know that I did The Grudge and The Ring back to back.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember.
I don't think that's what you started with. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
We'll post.
It's basically like American horror movies.
Yeah,
Like,
we're sticking
a lot of classic ones.
And then before that even started, I watched not all, but I watched 10 of the Friday the 13th movies. God. And I skipped 2 of them, I think.
The last 2?
The last 2. So I missed Freddy vs. Jason and then the remake.
God.
Just because of... I wanted to get it done before October because I didn't want to have to fit all these movies that I hadn't seen into the month.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to drag the whole series out into the month, but I also wanted to watch them. So,
right.
But I just barely missed it by like a day. So,
yeah.
But it's whatever. I'll watch them after.
You can do those as like your November 1st.
Yeah, yeah.
Because spooky season ain't over until like Thanksgiving.
It's never over.
I gotta say, I was really excited when you put The Ritual on there because I love that movie, and I'm kind of nervous that you're not gonna like it.
I mean, we'll see.
I don't know. I love it personally, but when I was looking at the calendar, I saw that you put that on my birthday, and I was like, did you do that on purpose?
I sure did.
And it made me so happy. Like, I'm very excited. And I should, hopefully, God willing, I should be off that day because I told my boss, like, when I first started that I wanted my birthday off, and he was like, we should be able to do that. And it's a Friday, which I would normally be working, but I'm pretty sure he's going to give it to me. So hopefully I won't be closing. I mean, even if I am closing, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, we'll make time.
But anyway, it's really good. I hope you like it. So it's been really fun. It's nice to have people to watch scary movies with because I lived alone for so long.
And you know me. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV,
right?
Or movies or anything. I do watch a lot of TikTok. Not even so much anymore, but
more than I do, I guess. But
like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's been nice watching movies again.
Yeah.
Hopefully this can continue.
Brownie seems to enjoy it too, but we were watching Saw, and people are being murdered, and he needed to pee, so he's like scrubbing on us. And, like, I'm trying to pay attention to the movie. I'm like, just lay down, just lay down. And he's fucking sticking his stinky little face in my face, wanting kisses, wanting somebody to look at him. Like, not everything's about you, bud.
People are losing their leg.
Yeah. Carrie Elwes from fucking Princess Bride is chopping his leg off with a rusty hacksaw from the back of a toilet.
Ugh.
All right. Well, we should probably get into it because it's getting late.
Ugh. Well... Who wants to go first?
Well,
I went
first the last couple times, I think.
Okay,
so if you want to go first,
yeah,
please.
Let's get into it.
Brownie doesn't want you to move.
Too bad, kid. So we're in spooky season,
yes, we
and
are.
I really wanted to try and find something that was a little spooky.
Okay.
And I remembered hearing about something that I looked into a little bit when we first started looking at topics and stuff.
Okay.
And so I kind of figured this would be a good one to kind of be in the middle.
Okay.
It's kind of another urban legend.
Nice.
But it doesn't really have, it's not like a cryptid. Or
okay.
It's not Tom. It's not Skin Tom.
Side note, we still haven't posted on Instagram, and we need to put that picture on there.
Fine by me. I posted on Twitter today.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, we forgot to do those socials. Because when the last episode went up, I was at work, so I scheduled it, and I completely forgot to even say, like, hey, we need to do social media posts.
Listen, we will get to it eventually.
We're busy little bees, okay? Just
seriously.
Follow us on Instagram, and you'll hear from us eventually. Anyway.
Eventually. But... this one's kind of spooky.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Spook me.
So, let's talk about the Devil's Tamping Ground.
Ooh.
So the Devil's Tamping Ground is a camping location that lies in a forest near the Bear Creek area of North Carolina. It's near the Harper's Crossroads area in Chatham County.
I think it's Chatham.
Chatham County?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I could be wrong.
It's like a TH, so... either way is right.
So if somebody's offended enough to email us, then that means that people are paying attention.
Period. But for years, literally dating back to Native American legend, this area has been like the talk of the town. Ooh. The story goes that the devil frequently comes and tamps the ground, which creates a barren circle in the ground where nothing grows.
I just realized I think I've heard of this before.
It's pretty cool. The locals' reasoning for the story is that things that are left within the circle will not be there when morning comes. Instead, it will be thrown many feet away from the circle. Dogs have howling fits and will resist their owners when they try and bring them close to the circle on the ground. And alleged stories of people acting strange after spending the night in the area. Some stories even claim that no one can spend the night there and remain sane after the night is over.
I don't like that. I don't like that a little bit.
Again, it is said that the devil tamps the ground by walking around in circles, essentially just pacing and thinking about ways he can bring evil into the world.
So it's like his thinking stump.
Yeah, he's the thinker.
Oh my god!
But he's evil.
He's got his little forked tail.
Oh my god!
And his goat horns. Or if we're going by like Tim Curry standards, he's got them big ol' honking. Have you seen those pictures of Tim Curry as the devil in Legend? Mm-mm. Hold on, I'm gonna show you real quick.
Don't get me started on Tim. You know how I feel.
I know, but I don't know if I understand. Hold on, let's show you. Also, speaking of the calendar, the scary movie calendar, you know that like the It 1990 version is like 3 hours long, right? Like it's a mini series. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure you didn't have another creature situation where you were like, okay, this is gonna be like a short movie, and then you're there all night. Which I also noticed you put creature for a one night slot too. So
I need to double check that that's not on like a weekday.
Yeah, you might have to move something around. But Tim Curry Devil. He's sexy, honestly. Imagine you go to hell and this is waiting for you. Oh, this is such a gunched up picture. Hold on. Oh, fuck. Why are these all so low quality?
Because Tim Curry's on the screen.
Eat a whole bag of dicks. Okay, here you go. I know you've seen him like this before. Have you?
I have. He looks like Hellboy, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's all practical effects, by the way.
That's pretty cool, though.
It's very cool. Not to keep derailing your story, I'm so sorry. But I watched that movie once. What's it called? Legend? And it's about unicorns, apparently. That's all I remember. But I don't remember the unicorns having horns. I think they spent all their horn budget on Tim Curry.
They could only afford two big ones.
Don't say it with... I hate that I had to look at you while you said that. Stop licking your lips, you creep. Ugh.
Oh my god.
Anyway, this is just how I'm imagining the devil in this story. Just so you know.
I'm okay. I'm just picturing him from the Powerpuff Girls.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a quote from John William Hardin, who was a journalist in Greensboro, North Carolina. Chatham, whatever. County natives say that the devil goes here to walk in circles as he thinks up new means of causing trouble to humanity. There, sometimes during the dark of the night, the majesty of the underworld of evil silently tamps around that bare circle, thinking, plotting, and planning against good in behalf of wrong. Ooh. So, let's go back in time, and we'll move our way forward and see if we can figure out what's going on.
All right.
In this spooky
everybody
circle.
in the phone booth. That wasn't a Doctor Who joke. That wasn't supposed to be a Doctor Who joke. Don't come for me. It was a Bill and Ted joke. I have much better taste than that. Oh god, no. You better shut it.
The Super Hulakians, or whatever the fuck they're called, are going to come for your ass.
They already hate me. They were...
Wait, Super Hulak, isn't that like Supernatural and...
Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock. Also, I'm sorry, that was a joke. I've only seen like 2 episodes of Doctor Who, and they were both enjoyable, okay? Don't nobody come for me. Bill and Ted is just better. And that guy that just drove by on his fucking motorcycle very loudly agrees with me, so...
Period. So, an article that was published in 1882 talked about the local indigenous people living in the area there. The article read that they have all a superstitious dread of the place, and it was with difficulty that I succeeded in getting one of them to visit the place with me for the purpose of digging into it. After getting about 3 feet away and finding nothing, he was so impressed with the supernatural origin that he refused to get any further.
This place is just bad vibes central.
Yeah. Another article written in 1882 referenced people nearly 100 years old who remembered seeing the Tamping ground and hearing stories of it when they were children, possibly as far back even to like the 1780s.
Whoa.
That would mean even settlers prior to the founding of America would have been aware of this legend, and it's possible that it goes even further back than that.
Jeez.
In 1925, a 74-year-old man born in 1851 said his grandfather, who would have likely been born in the early 1800s or even as late as the 1700s, said that the spot looked unchanged from when he had first seen it decades ago.
Ew.
Yeah. So then in 1905, a story was released in the Carolinian newspaper entitled Weird Tale of a Fishing Frolic. Not of fish caught, but of sights seen.
What?
The tale was written by J.W. Paschal. It says, quote, we visited a much greater wonder, which presents some phenomenon which is also ascribed to his satanic majesty and known as the Devil's Tamping Ground. There is a legend that an Indian chief is buried there, wrote Paschal, and the chief's tribe brought earth in blankets from beyond Deep River and planted it in the wiregrass. This is probably...
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. Okay. Let me see. So it says...
What is an earth blanket?
They brought earth in blankets.
What does that mean?
So they just brought, like, essentially they were getting, like, dirt and sediment from, like, the river.
Okay.
And placing it on top of this area. Because their chief was buried there.
Okay.
So I don't know what the significance is. I could probably look into it and like do a little bit of like a Twitter post about this. But I would assume that there was probably some maybe like a spiritual connection.
Okay.
There maybe, and so like they wanted to honor their chief's resting place.
Okay.
And fill it in with dirt that had some significance from the river. Again, I will probably have to dig into that, but...
Right. You're going to dig in the dirt?
Well, he dug in the dirt. J.W. Paschal went on to say, this is probably a true story. For with my knife, I dug up some of the earth in the circle. He described roughly 2 inches of the soil being bluish, clay-looking earth that is very different from the soil outside of the circle. Huh. So it's evident that other earth and soil was brought there. Then we're going to fast forward to the 30s. Okay. So in the 1930s, a newspaper published an article about the Tamping Ground. Mm-hmm. The Chatham Record wrote, for more than 100 years, and how much longer no one apparently knows, this spot has not materially changed appearance. In the 1930s, however, a new wrinkle appeared in the story, a great black beast that chases hunters and their dogs away.
Ooh.
The legend of this beast has seemingly not survived more in like common like this didn't find its footing.
Okay.
So this was like a really popular part of the story in the 30s, but it hasn't stuck.
Do you think it was maybe just like one sighting and then there never was one again, so it just didn't really...
I would say maybe.
Okay.
Because the rest of the article says there is a story current of how coon and possum hunters and their dogs would have been on more than one occasion. Well, on more than one occasion. But basically they were chased away from the vicinity.
Okay.
By like this ferocious beast said to resemble a black bear.
Okay.
Obviously I don't know much about the area, but who knows, maybe there are bears in the area, but...
I mean, I would think so.
But also, I mean, just like this black shadowy figure.
That's terrifying. I'd shit my pants. I'd shit them right off.
Yeah. Into the 40s now.
Let's go.
We're in here. So, scientists were running tests on the soil in the attempts to find the mystery behind it.
Oh, okay. W.A.
Bridges Laboratory in Wilson started running tests in 1946. basically they were running these tests with the North Carolina Department of Agriculture.
Okay.
And they determined that the soil was sterile. And newspapers called the mystery halfway solved. But they acknowledged that the tests themselves did not determine why the circle was sterile, nor why it had persisted for centuries.
Whoa.
So they...
Wait, so what do you mean sterile?
Like nothing can grow there. Like...
Huh.
It, like, the test basically...
There's just, like, no nutrients?
It's just dead.
Weird.
Yeah. This is a quote from that article. Knowledge of this place of mystery dates back to the years before recorded history, back to the days when indigenous tribes roamed the land before Columbus set foot upon this new world. The Devil's Tamping Ground, it seems, was sacred to these indigenous peoples. They used the spot for ceremonial rites.
Okay.
So now we have the account of like a chief being buried here,
Okay.
and also being a ceremonial spot.
Okay.
So there's definitely some like significance for
Sure.
the indigenous people to this area. Though it is not clear whether newspaper sourced its information relating to the mysterious circle to the indigenous people, but that theme has been seen throughout written history.
Okay.
We literally just bounced off of that. So like the connection to these indigenous tribes has been very evident. So there's no reason to like not count that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, are you ready for the big reveal?
I'm so ready.
So while I would love to sit here and believe that this is true, and I kind of want to anyway,
Okay.
but they since, and I don't have a date, but they did test the soil again.
Okay.
Okay. So the pine forests of North and South Carolina, they're naturally occurring salt licks.
What?
So basically this just means that the salt in the area has a very high concentration.
Okay.
So the salt prevents plants from growing, and it attracts animals that literally lick the soil to get the salt. The circle has been contracting over the years, and the salt is becoming more diluted and consumed. Currently, the circle itself is less than 20 feet across.
Huh. That's wild. Okay, but that has some creepiness to it too, because can you imagine you're walking through the woods and you just see this big circle and there's like a bunch of deer just licking the ground in the middle?
I mean, that would make me poop my big boy pants.
Like
I don't like it. I mean, so that makes sense.
yeah.
However, I would still like to believe that it is just the devil walking around in the woods.
Sure.
Like, the idea of it itself is just really creepy.
Yeah.
I did see, I didn't write it down just because there wasn't a lot on it. Because there's Google reviews of this place as well.
Oh my god.
Because technically it's on private property now.
Right.
But, like, there's a gate up and everything, but if you go talk, from what I can tell from the Google reviews, if you go and talk to this man, he'll let you hang out.
Okay.
He basically just put up the gate and like marked it as private property because local teenagers would go there and hang out and then leave the place trashed and wouldn't clean up after themselves. Yeah. So it was becoming a problem that this like elderly man couldn't keep up with.
Okay. That happens a lot.
Yeah. So he pretty much just like put up these gates and you have to go like speak to him now. But he, from what I can tell, he lets people hang out there like during the day, not so much at night.
Right.
But there was another thing that I read, and this I told you this. I said that I wanted to go, but we needed to go during a colder like winter month.
Okay.
Because apparently this place is like eaten up with ticks.
Yeah. I don't want that in my life.
And so that because a high tick. So this is me discovering this for the first time just now.
Okay.
If it is indeed a salt lick, there's going to be a lot of animals attracted to this place.
Right.
Particularly deer.
Okay.
It would make sense that there is a high population of tick in the area.
Right.
If there are a lot of animals that are passing through.
Right.
I mean, it is in the woods, so you're going to have a high tick population anyway.
Yeah.
But in my pea brain, that makes sense.
Right. Like if they know that they have a better food source, they'll follow that. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
We are not biologists, though. So
I really am not. I took biology too in not high school, in college twice.
I cried in biology when we had to dissect the frog.
I took, so when I was in college, story time,
Let's go.
I had this professor whose name I will not name,
Okay.
but so this is how his class worked. Okay. So class would start at like whatever time. I think I had an 8:30 class with him.
Ew.
But class started at 8:30. He would sit at the front of the class and he would take roll. Because
Okay.
he was very particular about keeping roll, which
Yeah.
I hated. But I mean, it's community college, so like, kind of get it.
Yeah.
But so he would take roll, and that would take about like not even 5 minutes. And as soon as he was done, he would close his book. He would walk over to the door and he would close it. It was locked, so if you didn't get there by the time he finished roll, you were not attending class that day.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the door was closed, he would pull an expo market. He would pull an expo marker out of his pocket and he would begin writing notes. All four
God.
walls of this classroom were covered in expo marker boards, and he would just write. So he would start at the very like left of this board that was at the front of the class.
Yeah.
And he would write notes. And he would go all the way around the classroom. And then whenever he got to the end of the fourth board on like the leftmost wall, he would go and he would erase it all and start
fuck.
over. And that's all you did. You took notes the
I hate that.
entire time.
I don't understand how you're supposed to absorb anything that way.
I didn't. So
Like,
so I took biology 1 first, obviously. Hated it.
yeah.
And his exams were I do not think I made above a 70 on any of his exams.
Jesus.
Because they would be like 50 multiple choice questions, and then there would be like 10 like essay questions.
Oh, fuck.
And I mean, when I took biology 1, it was like a 50-minute class. And then I changed my major to get away from biology, but
Yeah.
then couldn't. So then I took bio 2 and had to like take it again because I made a D.
Oof.
And so then I had to take it again and I made a C the second time, and I was like, we're done.
C's get degrees.
That was a semester that I dropped out because
Yeah.
I was like, I got to focus on biology so I don't fail it again. But then I ended up failing one other class, and then I failed another one for similar reasons as like the first time I failed biology too.
Yeah.
I just like it was a British literature class,
I feel like I remember you telling me
and I
about this one.
hated the professor. I hated the content of it because it was just like, I love literature,
Yeah.
and I love classic literature, but I like classic American literature. I cannot stand like British literature, medieval literature, only because of how it's written.
Yeah.
I just don't
understand
like
that.
it. I just don't like it. So,
British literature fans, don't come for us.
I mean, you can come for me. I don't care. I'll fight you to the end. Beowulf is not good.
It's not. I had to read Beowulf in high school, and I do not remember a word of it. I also had to read part of the Canterbury Tales, but we weren't allowed to read the whole thing because A, it's fucking long as hell, and B, it is raunchy.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, we can't really genuinely tell a bunch of 16-year-olds to read this. But I do remember something about somebody sticking their ass out the window and somebody else kissing it.
Hey.
Anyway. Yeah, college is hard. I think I absolutely would have failed if I had to take biology. 100%. Like,
And like, oh god,
if I had any science classes like that, I'd have been so fucked.
I was so pissed too because I was like, oh, I'm taking the same class twice, it'll be fine. No.
No.
Because in his class you had like a big project on top of your 2 finals that you had to take. Because he would make you take the biology course final, but then he would make you take his final. And his final was all of his exams combined and randomized, and then he would pick like 75 of his multiple choice questions and put them on paper, and then he would randomize the essay questions and put them on paper.
Oh my god.
And it was optional, but it could replace one of your other exam grades.
Yeah.
And I never bothered. I bothered the first time, but then I like bombed it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't bother the other 2 times, which in hindsight, maybe I should have tried the first time, but I don't care. I didn't get that degree. I don't want that degree.
Valid. Extremely valid. I think every once in a while, I think maybe I should go get my master's, and I think it might be fun. That sounds like such an oxymoron because I know people in like art master's programs that are like suffering. But I do think about it sometimes because I used to want to be like an art professor.
Yeah.
But then the other day I felt very validated because I saw this tweet from Joseph Fink. He's one of the writers of Welcome to Night Vale and a lot of other stuff. I respect him very much as a content creator and as a writer. And he tweeted about how basically it's his philosophy that you should never ever get a master's degree unless you have a very specific career in mind that requires it. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes me feel a lot better. Because I don't know, like, part of my thing about like now that I have a degree and I'm not really using it, I'm just like, is this really all there is? And I think it's more than okay now, if that's all there is. Like, really and truly, going to college, as much as it did give me, you know, I think it gave me a lot of skills that I would not have been able to learn otherwise. I never probably would have put my hands in ceramics if I hadn't gone to college. But do I think it was worth it? Absolutely not. For the connections, sure. I made some of the best friends in my entire life. Got drunk in a lot of really weird places. Rolled down a hill once. That was pretty fun. But the actual sitting in a class and learning, I don't think I absorbed enough of it for it to be worth the $11,000 that I still have left in student loan debt. And I got out of it easy. Like, I know a lot of people that did the same degree as me that have a lot more debt, and it's just not fucking worth it. Maybe if they finally decide one day to A, cancel student loan debt, and B, give us free college, maybe I'll go back. But as of right now, I'm good.
Yeah.
But anyway, this has been Em and Zach's College Corner.
Yeah. Abandonment Academy.
Oh my god.
That's a spin-off one day. Anyway.
Oh my god.
So that was the Devil's Tamping Ground. I definitely will dig more into the indigenous side of things. See if I can figure out some specifics on it. But I felt like that was a good ookie spooky one.
I do love
Even
that.
though I wish there was more to the story itself as far as like the devil part. But it is kind of cool that it has been a thing since the 1700s, maybe even before.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So
I will say I also am curious to see, like, I know you said all that stuff about how there was potentially a chief buried there and it was used as like an indigenous ceremonial site. I would be curious to see how the lore differs because the devil is very much like a Judeo-Christian kind of icon. And I don't know anything really about most Native American folklore, and I would like to know more for sure.
Same.
So if you find more about that, I absolutely want to hear. I would love to know more about that. You know what I noticed that we don't have anymore? Did you throw away those popcorn balls from last year?
I did because
Were they stale?
they were getting to their expiration date.
Boo.
But I can buy more.
We should, because ever since you and I have been friends, Halloween means popcorn balls to me now.
It's the time.
What were we putting on them last year? Bean dip. We were putting bean dip on those popcorn balls last year, and you know what? It slapped.
Here's
it
the
was
thing.
pretty good.
So I love Halloween, obviously, but I literally buy boxes of popcorn balls in bulk, and I save them and I keep them throughout the year.
Yep.
Like I had at my old job, we had a cabinet where we kept like personal items. The only thing I had in there was like lavender incense for no reason.
Which you gave to me.
Yeah, and a bag of popcorn balls. And every like 3 weeks they would be like, do you want to keep it? Yeah, I want to keep it.
They're the emergency ones.
Emergency provisions when I want a popcorn ball at work. And the amount of times that I ate popcorn balls at work was worth it.
Good. I love when people have like seasonal stuff like that because I don't know, I feel like I always like attribute it to that person. And it's just like a fun little thing. I don't know. I had this friend in high school, Josh. I don't know if he listens, but
He should.
he should. Josh, I miss you. We should hang out. But he always used to get. He was the same way with those caramel apple suckers. Those things are amazing. And he would buy like tons of them. I think he tried to sell them in high school. Like when people asked him for them enough that he was like, all right, I'm gonna start charging y'all. I don't remember if he did or not, but I remember he always had them in his backpack and he would share them with me. And anytime I have one of them now, I think of him. So, all right. You ready for my story?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So, I feel like ours are kind of similar in a way. As we established, I forgot last week that it was spooky season. Completely slipped my mind when the episode would be going up, so I did the water circus, which was a good time, and I stand by my choice because
I have no regrets.
water skiing clown, big scary.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to lean into it this time because we are really in the thick of it now.
Yeah.
Into the thick of it.
Stop it. I bit my tongue.
Listen, I don't use TikTok enough to.
You gotta get it.
I gotta get
when
it
you
in when I can.
Yeah.
So, so I have my timeline that I think are the ones I'm gonna do for the rest of October.
Okay.
And we are gonna try to do an extra episode, right? Like on Halloween proper, because we, typically we only upload bi-weekly, and it is kind of a stretch for me to get things edited in a timely manner because I am, for a number of reasons, mostly just because I'm a big procrastinator, but we are going to try to do an extra episode and post it on Halloween, which is not on our normal upload day, but we're going to do it. Anyway, I thought this was a good place to start.
Okay.
We always have said that our whole like reason for wanting to do this was inspired by like the places, and this one is simultaneously like a place and a person.
Okay.
So I felt like it was a good combination of the two and a good place to start. It's a very old story. It's very well known, potentially one of the best known hauntings ever.
Ooh.
I already told you what it is. Do you not remember?
Yeah, I just forgot.
I saw the recognition come in your eyes. If it's not one of the most well-known American haunting stories, it is at the very least probably the best known one from Tennessee. So today I am here to tell you about the Bell Witch.
Let's get into it.
Okay. Now I will say I want to do a little disclaimer here because the Bell Witch has been documented so many different times in so many different ways. There's all these different accounts. Everyone has a different story about how it played out. For this specifically, I used like 3 different sources, and there were so fucking many. There were so many that I could have pulled from. But for this, I used the official Bell Witch website, I used the Bell Witch Cave website, and I used Wikipedia because Wikipedia tends to have a fairly concise timeline. And, this is one that's so old that there's just not, it's kind of hard to be super accurate,
Yeah.
not a whole lot of documentation. Well, it's not that there's not documentation, it's more that like
A consistent documentation?
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Just wanted to get that in there beforehand. So if there's anything that you think is wrong, or well, I heard it this way and so heard it that way, sorry. But this is just the best I could get it from those 3 sources. And I was gonna include some like personal testimonials from like a couple of Facebook groups that I'm in, because people are talking about it all the time. Everybody has a Bell Witch story, but there were so many and they all kind of follow the same beats, so I figured it wasn't worth it. But there's a lot of content out there for you to consume. So
I
anyway,
think there's a movie.
I'm sure there is. Without further ado, here's the tea. John Drew Bell was born in 1750 in Edgecombe County, North Carolina, and he is sort of the protagonist of this story.
Okay.
Mr. Bell was an apprentice barrel maker before he decided to start a career as a farmer. And in 1782, at the age of 32, he married... This is so gross. I don't want to make a big deal out of it because I know people are going to be like, oh, well, it was the different time. It was the 1700s. I don't care. It's gross. In 1782, at the age of 32, he married 12-year-old Lucy Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on. The 2 of them settled on a farm that he had purchased in North Carolina, and they started a business together, and it was prosperous. They were regarded as some of the area's most successful farmers, which is kind of a big deal. In the winter between 1804 and 1805, though, they decided that they were going to have a little bit of a change of pace. They decided they were going to pick up and they were going to move from North Carolina over the mountains into Tennessee, which is a kind of a crazy journey for that time period.
Yeah.
Very rugged terrain, very difficult move. But they did it. They settled on about 300 acres of land in what is now northwestern Adams, Tennessee. The Bell Witch Cave site describes the farm that they built together as follows. The Bell Farm is in a secluded area in Adams, Tennessee, and it is a very beautiful representation of the state of Tennessee with its rolling green hills and farmland. If you are interested in paranormal activity or if you are a history buff, then the Bell Witch Cave and Farm will definitely not disappoint. If you like canoeing or kayaking, the Red River is a great river to navigate and enjoy the beauty of Tennessee. We would love for you to stop by if you were ever in the area. So, lovely, quaint little place.
Yeah, sounds like it.
John Bell and his wife had a total of 6 children. Their names were Jesse, Betsy, Richard, John Jr., Drury, and Benjamin. John Bell also became an elder of the Red River Baptist Church, and for the first 13 years of their life in Tennessee, they had overall a very normal, happy life. But things did not stay that way. Dun, dun, dun. Here's where things really start.
Okay.
Sometime around late 1817, some said 1816, some said 1817, some strange things started to happen on the Bell farm. One day, John Bell was out tending to his cornfields, and between the rows, he saw a creature that he said resembled a cross between a dog and a rabbit. A lot of accounts say it had the head of a rabbit and the body of a dog. And if any of you have ever seen Brownie, that's just what he looks like. So the Bell Witch is here with us in the studio today. How you doing, bud? You don't look very happy with me. Are you sad you're called out? He looks so sad. Oh my god. I'm not roasting you. You're a very cute little bunny dog. Anyway, so yeah, that's what Brownie looks like. John Bell, startled, decided that he was going to shoot at the animal, but he didn't hit it, and it seemed to vanish into thin air. And after that was when things really started to kick off. So they started to see a lot more strange things around the property. His son, Drury, saw a very strange bird perched on their fence, which he said was extraordinary in size. I don't know how big. Like, are we talking like ostrich? Or like bald eagle? Can you imagine you're just walking around a farm in Tennessee and you look up and there's a fucking ostrich?
I mean...
There are emu farms around here, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, not the point. I just wonder what his metric of size for a bird was.
Yeah. Like... Sorry, it's past my bedtime. I wonder, like, maybe he just never seen a big bird before.
That's what I was thinking. Like, you know, it's the early 1800s.
They ain't got encyclopedias.
They don't have TV. They don't have National Geographic. It couldn't have been too big, though, because he approached it and it flew away. So at least it was able to fly. A lot of those big birds are flightless.
Yeah,
Thank
Big
God.
Bird is flightless.
Yeah. That's because he had too many DUIs. So he tried to approach the bird, but it flew away. Then the Bell's daughter Betsy saw a girl in a green dress swinging from an oak tree branch. And there was no clarification as to what that meant either. I don't know if she was like hanging on by her hands, like Tarzan style swinging, or if there was like a swing materialized and she was swinging on it like a playground swing, or if she was dead. I don't know. We just have no way of knowing. But she saw that and it weirded her out. And then one of the Bell's servants, a man named Dean, reported that on evenings when he was going to visit his wife, he would be followed by a big black dog. Which, puppy.
Oh, little puppy.
Oh, this puppy.
Maybe it was the same big black figure from the Tamping ground.
Yeah, he was on a little road trip.
He was on a vacation.
Oh my god. I mean, they did move from North Carolina to Tennessee. Maybe they brought him with him. The activity began to spread beyond the grounds outside the house and into the household itself. So it began with knocking on the exterior walls and the doors, but before long it came inside the house. The family would hear sounds of something gnawing on their beds. Some said like a rat.
A rat?
A rat, truly. I'm sorry, I just looked at my notes. There's there's a typo and it's really unfortunate. Let me start over. The family would hear sounds of something gnawing on their beds, invisible dongs fighting, chains dragging across the...
Oh my god.
So yeah, invisible dogs fighting, chains dragging across the floorboards, rocks being dropped on the floor, and this is the worst in my opinion, it's so fucking creepy. A gulping and choking sound. Just disembodied in their house.
Evil ASMR.
Period. Sheets were yanked off of beds while the children were sleeping, and Betsy, the one daughter, seemed to get the worst of it. An invisible entity would pull her hair, scratch her, slap her, pinch her, and stick her with pins. Around this time, her father John began experiencing paralysis in his mouth. He apparently often had this feeling of a stick being stuck sideways in his throat, and his face would twitch and, like, jerk uncontrollably. And understandably, they were terrified. They had no idea what to do. But they still kept it secret for about a year before they decided to call for help. They called on a family friend named James Johnston, and he and his wife spent several nights at the Bell home. While he was there, he had similar experiences. He was awakened in the middle of the night by, I don't know specifically what it was, but probably like sheets being ripped off the bed or hearing those weird sounds. And he told John that what was plaguing them was, quote, a spirit, just like in the Bible. So after that visit from the Johnstons, they formed this committee and an investigation started into what was going on the farm. Which, to me, the way it's described seems less like an investigation and more like a sideshow. People were just coming around. They wanted to see what was happening.
Yeah.
So, word began to spread, and people would travel great lengths to come to the Bell homestead. And at this point, it kind of seemed like as things went on, she was gaining strength. Like, if at first they were just seeing these apparitions, weird stuff around the farm, and then the noises started, and it was coming closer and closer, and eventually she started talking. And
I got goosebumps.
Yeah, it's really gross. So someone asked her, "Who are you and what do you want?" And she replied in a feeble voice, "I am a spirit. I was once very happy, but I have been disturbed." The nature of the disturbance that was causing her to do this was unclear. She gave a lot of different answers to this question, and she kind of seemed to love just being chaotic and, like, giving people the randomest fucking answers. Like, she would say different stuff every time, pretty much. She allegedly described the disruption of a Native American burial ground on the Bell property, and at one point she sent Drew Rebell and a man named Bennett Porter on a, quote, unproductive search for buried treasure. Just
this
for kicks.
Asshole ghost.
Yeah, she's just fucking with them for the sake of fucking with them. However, the prevailing explanation for, like, who she was and what was causing her to do this was that she claimed to be the spirit of Kate Batts, a mean old neighbor of John Bell who believed that he had cheated her in a land purchase. Because when he bought the farm, I guess he didn't do it all at once. He kind of just accumulated these different parcels of land until he had the 300 acres. And supposedly, he jilted this woman. So on her deathbed, she swore that she would haunt him and his descendants.
Oh my god.
So at that point, that just kind of ended up being the answer that stuck. Apparently she gave a couple different ones, but since that one made the most sense, people were like, okay, yeah, it's Kate. So that's what people generally call her, is Kate. So after that first feeble call out, her power just grew further, and she would start to carry on full conversations with people, and she seemed to know things that she didn't necessarily have any way of knowing. She once recited word for word 2 sermons that were given at separate churches to separate congregations 13 miles apart at the same exact time. And, of course, that would imply that she was in 2 places at once. In spite of being regarded as an evil presence, she seemed to be extremely well versed in biblical text, and she liked to debate people on scripture and, like, engage in, like, religious arguments.
Can I say something?
Of course.
I don't want to derail, but
Please.
The church boy in me is coming out right now.
Please, let's go.
There's this part in the Bible where Jesus goes out into the desert. And essentially he's fasting out there. I forget exactly why, but he's like out in the desert and he's fasting, and the devil shows up and like tempts him with like food and stuff, but they essentially get into a scripture war.
Like a
Like they're like quoting scripture at each other.
like a rap battle.
Yeah, but like with like Bible verses instead of sick verses.
They are sick verses.
Period. But the thing, if you look into like the Christian like biblical side of like demons and spirits and stuff, they know the Bible and they know the scripture because they fear it.
Okay. So it would make sense that she would know, right?
If she was like a demon, then yes, she would know it because, like I said, they know it because they fear it.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I have chills.
Ooh, okay.
I kind of hate it.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
She apparently she also really enjoyed gossiping, and she would talk about activities that were going on in other households, like not churches, people's homes. Sometimes she would seem to kind of pop out for a minute, and she would go elsewhere, snoop, and come back and like report her findings. Like sometimes people would ask her questions, and she would go to like another person's house, come back, report what she had heard there, and like it was accurate, supposedly. One of James Johnston's sons, John Johnston, really creative on the names in the 1816, he came up with a test for the witch. He asked her something that no one outside of his family could ever possibly know, which was this phrase that his grandmother would ask her slaves if she thought that they had done something wrong. And not only did she answer correctly, but she replied in her accent, like mimicking her voice. Apparently the phrase was, "Hut tut, what has happened now?" And I guess she was Dutch, so she like mimicked the accent. And they were really freaked out by this, obviously. There was another account of an Englishman who was traveling, and he stopped by to investigate the witch, and while he was talking to the Bell family about his family back home in England, she started mimicking his parents.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was kind of going to talk about this at the end, but I debated on it because I don't want people to like get mad at me for being a skeptic. But this is one of those stories where some of the details make me wonder if it was like a ventriloquism case. Because I've heard, like, there are some ghost stories that have been debunked as someone just being like a really talented ventriloquist. But these are those details that, if they are true, make me believe that it's like it's not that, you know, because they'd never met this man, and she could mimic the voices like enough to freak the people out. Early the next morning, she woke him up speaking in his parents' voices as if they had heard him talking and were concerned for him. And he was so freaked out that he left, like without saying goodbye, and later he wrote to the Bell family and told them that the witch had somehow visited his family, and he apologized for his skepticism. Gross. One of the more famous people to visit the Bell household during the time of the witch was former President Andrew Jackson. Also gross. But, you know, I thought about doing an Andrew Jackson roast and just like talking about all the horrible shit that he did. But
we wouldn't have enough runtime.
We would not have enough runtime. I hate him so fucking much. But that's a story for another time. Maybe I can spread it out over different stories where he butted his big stupid nose in. But anyway, 3 of the Bell children, John Bell Jr., Drury, and Jesse Bell, all fought under General Jackson in the Battle of New Orleans, so he knew the family personally. And in 1819, he heard about the disturbances at their house and decided to come pay them a visit and investigate. So he brought this entourage with him. He had several troops, some horses, and a large wagon. And as they were approaching the Bell property, their wagon got stuck. They thought at first that it was just in a creek bed, it was stuck in the mud, and the horses just couldn't pull it any further. But for some reason, when they were unsuccessful in making the wagon move, Jackson just screamed, "By the Eternal, boys, that must be the Bell Witch." Which, it seemed that she just kind of wanted to be acknowledged because she spoke to them and told them that they could proceed. And after that, the wagon was able to move and they made it the rest of the way to the house. I actually have here kind of a lengthy passage from the website describing what the men experienced. This is from the Bell Witch website. And I will say, The Bell Witch website is like bellwitch.org or something, and then there's a separate one for the cave, which is like the tour details and stuff. So, here we go. One of the men claimed to be a witch tamer. After several uneventful hours, he pulled out a shiny pistol and proclaimed that its silver bullet would kill any evil spirit that it came into contact with. He went on to say that the reason that nothing had happened to them was because whatever had been haunting the Bells was, quote, scared of his silver bullet. Immediately, the man screamed and began jerking his body in different directions, complaining that he was being stuck with pins and beaten severely. A strong, swift kick to the man's posterior region from an invisible foot sent him right out the front door. Angry, the entity spoke up and announced that there was yet another fraud in Jackson's party and that she would identify him the following evening. Now terrified, Jackson's men begged to leave the Bell farm. Jackson insisted on staying. He wanted to know who the other fraud was. The men eventually went outside to sleep in their tents while continuously begging Jackson to leave. What happened next is not clear, but Jackson and his entourage were spotted in nearby Springfield early the next morning, going back to Nashville. Some alleged that Jackson proclaimed, "I would rather fight the British at New Orleans again than fight the Bell Witch." Now we enter a section that I have titled, Kate, Girl, Why Are You Like This?
Oh my god.
Okay, so that point brings us to the question of why she tormented the family like she did for so long. Apparently, there were two main goals that she wanted to accomplish. To kill John Bell Sr. and to stop his daughter Betsy from marrying a man named Joshua Gardner. She let her intentions be known quite vocally and physically, with curses, threats, and afflictions like that mouth paralysis and the choking of John Bell Sr. that I mentioned before. And while she was hostile and often mocking to most people, she kind of had her favorites within the family. She referred to John's wife Lucy as, quote, the most perfect woman to walk the earth, and would bring her fresh fruit and sing hymns to her. Also, I didn't put this in earlier, but apparently, before they started like actually hearing her speak, one of the things that they would hear, like the chains dragging and stuff, was an old woman like softly singing hymns, like kind of just barely able to whisper them. So that's creepy.
That's so creepy.
She also seemed to show John Bell Jr. a little bit more respect and affection than the other children, and we've already established that she liked to beat the shit out of Betsy. So for 3 years the torment went on, and over time John Bell got weaker and weaker until eventually she was successful in her first goal, which was to kill him. On December 20th, 1820, John Bell died of an apparent poisoning, and Kate was more than happy to take full credit for his death. However, like I said earlier, there are a lot of different accounts of these events. A lot of different people have documented them and had different theories or different evidence. I'm putting air quotes around evidence. Some of it, I would say, is valid. Some of it, I think, is probably more speculation than anything. But me saying that on its own is speculation. So take this with a grain of salt. But one account of the events, published by a man named Martin V. Ingram, stated that the witch may not have actually been directly responsible for his poisoning. According to Richard Williams Bell, as Ingram documented it, John Bell Sr. had been sick in his bed for quite some time. His son, John Bell Jr., found the vial of poison in the cupboard one morning after his dad wouldn't wake up. And while the family called a doctor, the witch exclaimed that it was her doing, and she said something like, I gave him a hefty dose of that last night. And I'm sorry, this really sucks. If you don't like animal stuff, I'm sorry, but it'll be quick. John Jr. and someone named Alex Gunn tested the poison on the family cat, and after ingesting just a drop of it, the cat dropped dead. John Sr. passed the next day, so essentially that's what they think happened, was that he was being poisoned. But it's hard to say who actually did it, whether it was the witch or someone else. But they found it in the cupboard. At his funeral, mourners were interrupted by her loudly singing drinking songs as if she were celebrating. This is another passage from the Bell Witch site. John Bell's funeral was one of the largest ever held in Robertson County, Tennessee. People attended from miles away, and 3 preachers, 2 Methodist, 1 Baptist, eulogized him. As the crowd of mourners began to leave the graveyard, the Bell Witch entity laughed and sang a song about a bottle of brandy. Her fervent singing didn't stop until the last mourner had left the graveyard. The entity's presence was almost non-existent after John Bell's demise, as though it had fulfilled its purpose. In 1821, Betsy called off her engagement to Joshua Gardner, and it was kind of after that it was over, basically. Like, that was her other goal, and everything she wanted had been achieved. However, she did say that she planned to return in 7 years, and she made good on that promise. In 1828, Lucy and her sons Richard and Joel were apparently still living on the original homestead, and the activities were similar to what they had experienced before, but Lucy apparently just was like, no, and refused to encourage it, so it just kind of died down. There was no. I think in situations like this, one of the things that, and there's no reasoning, scientific or otherwise, behind this statement, so I could be wrong, but to me, it seems like when you give something that much attention, that's giving it energy. Because, as she was growing in popularity the first time, she just got more and more vocal. So I think it kind of makes sense that there's a correlation between, like, A, how much effort she's going to put into this haunting, and B, how much energy she has in the first place, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
So I kind of think that that's what happened. She left them alone once again, and on her departure that time, she said that she planned to return again in 107 years. That would have been in 1935, but there was no significant events to indicate that she made good on her promise. However, some believe that she never left and she was just there in a more diluted sense, because strange things have always happened in the Adams area since her first appearance. I have another quote here from a manuscript attributed to Richard Williams Bell. He wrote that the spirit remained a mystery, and, quote, whether it was witchery, such as afflicted people in past centuries and the darker ages, whether some gifted fiend of hellish nature practicing sorcery for selfish enjoyment, or some more modern science akin to that of mesmerism, or some hobgoblin native to the wilds of the country, or a disembodied soul shut out from heaven, or an evil spirit like those Jesus drove out of the man into the swine, setting them mad, or a demon let loose from hell, I am unable to decide. Nor has any one yet divined its nature or cause for appearing, and I trust this description of the monster in all forms and shapes, and of many tongues, will lead experts who may come with a wiser generation to a correct conclusion and satisfactory explanation. There's never really been an explanation. No one knows what happened. Like I said, I kind of wonder if it was just kind of a case of ventriloquism that got out of hand. Maybe one of the family members was slighted and kind of went off the shits, and I don't know. When you're alone in the wilderness like that, I think it's kind of easy to drum up fear, I guess, and really play it up. But also, I think there's a lot of things that people experienced that would dispute that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those where there's nobody left alive today. There are descendants, of course, and there's actually a section on the cave website where there's, like, genealogy, and you can kind of go back and see if you're related to the Bells, which I think is kind of cool. But I would also like to point out that there's a separate section for, like, the genealogy stuff and the story stuff. So it's kind of implied that some of this is speculation, which is fair. I think in a lot of these legends like that,
Yeah.
as it goes on, it's like a big game of telephone. But today, you can visit the cave and the remains of the farm. They are currently closed because of COVID-19, as is so much shit. But the original cabin was torn down for safety reasons. However, there is a hand-built replica on the farm today, and admission to the cabin tour is $8 a person. Patrons can see some artifacts from the area, such as a kettle and some chimney stones that were on the property in the first place. On the website, there is a tab titled Bell Witch Fest, which details events and tours that take place on the property during the Halloween season. It's not been updated since 2019 because, again, COVID. But hopefully that comes back soon, because there was some, like, tour stuff, and it seemed like they had some fun, like, Halloween, kind of like corn maze events, that kind of thing.
That seems so much fun.
I know, and we'd have to look. I didn't actually look at a map to see how far that is from us, but I would be curious to find out, because I would like to go someday. I've never been to the cave. A lot of people do, though.
I want to go really bad.
I've wanted
like,
to go since I was a kid.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, the cave is a very common tourist destination. A lot of people go visit, but there is this very common warning that people give, and I think this kind of is a blanket statement for a lot of haunted places. But this cave in particular, you are never, ever supposed to take anything. Never, not a pebble. A lot of people take rocks, and then bad shit happens. And again, that could be coincidental.
But I doubt
but
it.
you don't want to risk it. You do not want to incur the wrath of Miss Kate Batts, if that is her real name. We don't know.
We don't know.
Demons are not historically super truthful.
3 hours away. 3 hours, 10 minutes.
I see.
Yeah. You said Adams, right?
Yes.
It's up
Oh,
above
so it's
Nashville.
like Nashville. Okay.
It's like near Kentucky, too.
Wow. Interesting.
That's a pretty far distance
That is, yeah.
from North Carolina.
That is, yeah. And I think they had to go through Kentucky, which is a real rough ride. But yeah, if you do go, like I said, don't take anything.
Don't touch nothing.
If you want to hear some stories about people who have gone and experienced some weird things, there's tons of that stuff on the internet. I'm sure there's some stuff on Reddit. I read a lot of stuff on Facebook. I'm in this group called Strange Tennessee, which I've never really posted anything in there. I do like to people watch because people are always posting stuff in there, but a lot of it is just people being like, oh, there's a spot in my photo, what do you think it is? And they're kind of thinking it's an orb. A lot of the time people are like, it's just a bug, and people get unnecessarily nasty about it. But it is kind of fun. I've actually gotten a couple things from it that I might do as story topics in the future, so if you are interested in that, go check it out. I think you have to be approved to like see people's posts in it, but the group's called Strange Tennessee. It's kind of fun. That's basically all I use Facebook for these days, is looking at Facebook groups. And it's that one, this one Emperor's New Groove meme page that Grace added me to, and Frog Spotting. Frog Spotting is the best group on Facebook, and I stand by that. It's just people posting frogs.
I really miss that Facebook group that I was in a long time ago. It was probably 2 years ago now, but it was just a group where we all acted like boomers.
I
like
love
30,000.
that one.
There was
That
like
one
30
is so funny.
yeah.
Is it still up, or did it get banned?
There were some people being rude and nasty in there, so they like it's still there, but nobody can
Yeah.
post in it.
Aw, that's
Like
a
it's
bummer.
like it's essentially archived.
Yeah. I remember seeing this one. I was never a part of it, but I thought it was really funny. The one where people acted like they were ants in a colony. Did you see those? They were so funny.
Yes.
I love that shit.
My favorite post that I ever made in that group was I posted a picture of a flash drive and was like, I found my grandkids' jewels.
Is that why you're so good at it when like you and
Esther.
Esther get into those like church guy role plays?
Yeah, because
In
I forget.
text.
My name's Bubba Jr.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she's something. I don't remember.
I don't either, but yeah.
I feel like you usually call her Ethel, but maybe that's just me projecting because I like the name Ethel. I think it's very churchy.
Don't look, Ethel!
But it was too late. She done been mooned.
Oh my
Why are we
God.
on that bullshit today? Because Brownie's naked.
Yeah, that's
That
what
was
started it.
That and mouse turd. But that never really stops.
It never stops. It's always in my
It
head.
never stops.
Thank
Well,
you for that spooky ass story.
You're so welcome.
I'm not gonna stop thinking about it. I need to see if my mom still has that movie.
The Bell Witch movie?
Yeah. I tried to find it online, but I can't. Like I couldn't find it, and I remember my mom had it when I was a kid, and my mom likes scary movies, but like there are certain ones that she does not fuck with. For example, I didn't watch Pet Cemetery until I was an adult because she watched it when she was like a teenager when it came out, and
really?
it terrified her.
You know what's funny is my mom also has a story with that, but I don't know if she'll want me sharing this. I don't think she'll mind. Her first date with my father was to see Pet Cemetery, and she took my Aunt Sherry with her.
That's so
apparently.
funny. I love that.
But for my entire childhood, I remember I've never seen the movie actually. I've read the
Really?
book. I read the book many times, far too young, because my grandma is a book hoarder. She's where I get it from. But she had a copy of it and she let me have it, and I read it so many times. It terrified me to my core. But my mom always talked about that scene where the kid's like hiding under the bed with the scalpel and he gets his Achilles tendon. Yeah. And for a long time, never even having seen that movie, I would think about that if there was like access to under my bed.
Yeah.
Someone's under there gonna get me.
That's me, but it's House of Wax.
Yeah, what was it in House of Wax? I know you've told me this, but I can't remember.
The guy's like in a there's like a trap door, and he
Yeah.
just has a pair of scissors, and he just and then
Ugh.
goes back in the hole.
It's foul.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
have
not
to
it.
add House of Wax to my movies I've never seen.
Yes. Honestly, might swap that out for something if I can find it streaming
really?
somewhere, because that is such a good movie.
What was the other one? Oh, I've never seen Pet Cemetery either, which I feel like I need to. I really want to watch the remake because I heard it was actually pretty good.
I do too, because I've seen Pet Sematary. I haven't seen the sequel.
Yeah, I've heard it's much cornier.
I'm sure it is, just like all the other Stephen King sequels.
Right. All right, well, how about you tell me what your issue is this week?
Oh goodness, honestly, I don't even know if I have one this week.
I do.
Okay, you go, and then I'll figure mine out.
All right, Patreon people, listen up. My issue this week is that I broke my computer. Okay, here's a good thing. We do have our first ever Patreon subscriber.
Yay.
Because we finally posted some content on our Patreon page. The first person on there, we're gonna go ahead and give a shout out because you're paying for it. Glade, my buddy Glade. Thanks, bud.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. They messaged me and was like, "Hey, what's your address? I'm gonna send you guys a book from your wish list too." So, a real trooper.
Pretty iconic.
One of the sweetest people I know. But if you want to subscribe to us on Patreon, we have our first ever episode that we recorded on there now. This is a shameless plug for that, even though we're getting ready to do our social spiel. But if you would like to support us, maybe that'll go to getting us some new equipment, because I was editing the episode this past week before I went to work, and I've had my laptop for I bought it in 2017, and I bought it open box at Best Buy. It's an HP 360 Envy or some shit. I love this computer, and I have little Velcro strips on the back of the lid for our hard drive, because I noticed that when I was editing, our external hard drive got jostled a lot because the USB ports are kind of wobbly because they're pretty old. And so I stuck it to the back of it to keep it stable, make it less likely to happen. Well, I was drinking my coffee, and I had my half... Fortunately, I didn't knock the cup over because it was half full. And then I would have just added insult to injury by dumping hot coffee all over my fucking computer after I broke it. But I went to close the lid, and the handle of my mug was sticking out, and it hung on the USB cable and yanked the casing off the screen of my computer. So one of the little buttons that holds, snaps the thing together, fell out. I think I still have it. I tried to tape it to the back of my computer with Scotch tape so I didn't lose it. I don't know if I need it, but I didn't know what else to do, and I didn't want to lose any parts. So yeah, I tried to pop it back together and it wouldn't stay, so I can't close it. But currently, she is held together by a really wonky strip of painter's tape and a binder clip, so that I could move it into the studio to work today without it falling apart. And I'm really upset. I'm so sad.
Tax time can't come soon enough, can it?
And the worst thing is, I was like, I should put some money on my credit card this year for when tax time rolls around. I should pay off a chunk of my credit card. And now I'm going to have to buy a computer probably. Fortunately, it still works, but I don't know. I'm going to look into getting it repaired. That'll probably cost less, but I'm scared. I don't want to get a new computer.
Yeah.
I love her. She's covered in
She's a trooper.
stickers.
She's a trooper.
I have so many stickers on this hoe. I kept my last computer that died. The one that I sold to you, I had one exactly like it before I got that one. That was the laptop I bought for college. And I had covered it in stickers. And the motherboard died on it one day. There are so many fucking motorcyclists. It's like they don't even know that we're here. They don't even know that we're podcasting right now.
The audacity of these beaches.
We don't use Audacity anymore. We use Studio One. Thanks.
My issue? You?
When is it not? But yeah, what I started to say was I kept that dead computer for entirely longer than I should have, because I thought initially that because it was the same computer, the repair guy that fixed it, or the guy that we sent it to, is the one that does work for my mom's office. And he was like, I'll check into it. I'll see if I can fix it. If nothing else, I can pull your stuff off your hard drive. But he said he might be able to swap out the casing, and he couldn't. So I kept the dead computer because it had all my stickers on it, and I didn't want to get rid of my stickers. It's gone now, I think. But I was really bummed, and I don't want that to happen again because I have some good stickers on this one.
Yeah.
I have an Unisana sticker on there, I think. Or no, it's on my iPad. But
Hey.
Fortunately, I haven't broke my iPad yet. But I can't
Knock
hold
on
my
the
breath.
wood.
I don't want to knock because Brownie will bark.
Oh, yeah.
I'll knock on his butt.
Period.
His head is like wood. Donk, donk.
Hollow as a trunk.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my issue, and I'm never gonna be over it. Send me money. I also have a Cash App and a Venmo. I use Venmo more.
Period. Shoot. My issue this week.
Can I say another one that's really short?
Yeah, go for it.
My second issue is that there was this lady that came through my line and she ran her credit card and her legal name was Wendy Williams, and I had to hold that in and just not say anything about it.
What are you talking about?
Shoot.
Okay. My issue this week is as of today, actually. So you all know that I love the Discord games.
Okay, yeah. Survivor.
So,
are you still surviving?
Well, okay. So, here's what happened. So, I wasn't playing a Survivor game. Like, I played one that ended a while back. It was probably like a month ago now.
Yeah.
I was playing that when I got 4th place. So,
hell
yeehaw.
yeah.
But I was feeling the itch. I was like, I'm gonna take a break. But then I was like, I'm feeling the itch. I want to start a game. And
hello, Zack. I want to play a game.
Okay. I quit. Okay. So I was feeling the itch. I really wanted to play one again, but there were no like Survivor games that were like casting or taking applications.
Okay.
So a friend of mine that I met from the last Survivor game that I played, she actually won. Mickey, I think you listen to this. If you do, hi.
If you don't, Mickey.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Stop it. Now she?
Yeah.
Now she's really not going to listen.
Oh, well. But Mickey has a Big Brother Discord game.
Okay.
And it's Stardew Valley themed.
Yes.
And I was on the fence about it. So I made her like explain the dynamic of the game and what goes on. And I was like, well, I can adapt. You know, I'll figure it out.
You didn't know anything about Survivor.
No. So I was like, okay, we can make it work. I started it. We're on like week 4 now, 3, 4, something like that. It's been going for a second. And so I was fine. I was happy. I was content. Well, then earlier this week, I got an invitation to play an all-star season of Skateviver, which is the last game that I played. And it is like a dream. It sounds so corny, but it's a dream of mine to play an all-star season of these Survivor games. And I was like not about to turn this down.
Yeah.
Because I love the production team there. They're all so great. So I was like, hell yeah. Like, absolutely. It started today. We marooned today at noon, which I was still asleep for.
Oh, no.
Which is fine. That's just like we got broken into tribes and it was fine. I didn't miss anything. We got our challenge at like 7 today.
Okay, good.
I looked at my phone earlier. I had 47 DMs.
All from the same person?
No.
Okay.
So in the Big Brother game, there's like 12 people left.
Okay.
And then there's 9 other people on my tribe. So between those like 20-something people that I have to communicate with, I had 46 DMs.
Jesus.
46. I'll say some of them because I'm on production for one now. So some of that I know were pings from that server, but a lot of them were DMs, and I was like, this is really my life now.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it.
I don't either. So yeah, that's my issue. All the DMs.
That's a lot. Yeah.
I promise I'll get to them. I gotta work my way up from the bottom.
Well,
speaking of me, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
People should bring that energy to our DMs.
Yeah, they should. And you might be asking yourself, wow, these people are cool. How can I get in contact with them? Let me tell you.
I don't think anybody's ever thought that about me.
I thought that about you.
Aw.
Anyway,
Sounds fake, but thanks. No. Anyway.
so listen, if you ever want to get in contact with us, there's many places in which you can do so. If you ever find yourself on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, you can find us on those sites.
Yeah.
Issues.
What?
Oh my god. Okay, you can find us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube if you put in at issues_podcast. We're also on Tumblr, theabandonmentissues.tumblr.com, or you can simply go to our link tree in the description of this little
ditty.
this little episode. In that link tree, you'll be able to find all of our relevant links, including our cited sources, social medias, and our Patreon can be found there as well. Shout out to Glade.
Thank you, Glade. Yeah, get into that Patreon. I think that, honestly, not tooting our own horns, but let's. I think that our first episode that we did, like the one that's on there now, I think that recording was honestly pretty good for our first ever attempt. Like, it's a good story.
Like, we plugged in our mics and we went for it.
Yeah. So if you want to hear that, we only have one tier. It's $5 a month. If you can spare it, please do. Because, you know, we work full time, but we're still poor.
Yeah.
So if we could get a little bit of something for doing this, it would really help us out with
100%. And also it would help us, you know, motivation
to make more content.
Honestly though, like if we can see some interest in the Patreon, that would make us, you know, we could put some more stuff on there. So you got to meet us halfway.
Yeah, we have YouTube dreams someday.
We got to get there first.
So if we get to a point where we have a little bit more funding, a little bit more interest, that's when I think that'll start happening. Because we have some ideas that I think will be really fun. It's just going to be really hard to make them happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to send us any suggestions, any spooky Halloween stories, we are thinking about doing some like mini episodes to put on maybe on the Patreon. Maybe just some little bonus content throughout this month. If you have any stories like that you want to share, or anything you want to ask us or tell us, you can send that to tellusyourissue@gmail.com, and we will read those. Currently we have a lot more of those spam emails. Oh wait, I think there was one. Hold on, I think there was actually one I wanted to read you, now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh fuck yeah.
I think I screenshotted it. Oh god. Okay, well, I opened my screenshots. I've been listening to a lot of Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet, so I've been looking at Google reviews for basically everything, and I found this one for a haunted house near us, and this review is a 1-star. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but the first line makes me laugh so fucking hard, and I think I already read this to you, but I don't care. I'm gonna read it on the air. This is from Tammy. A grown man called a minor in my group motherfucker.
Me playing Discord games.
Truly. That is big Zack energy. Anyway. Okay, here we go. This is a spam message we got to that account, which is currently all that's in our inbox. So please help us change that.
Please.
It says, I personally feel that meeting you was divine. Our souls found each other and we belong together. Please, am looking for who will be my business partner. I know that this letter may come across to you as a big surprise. Actually, I came across your profile personal search and I decided to email you directly because you may be that lucky parson who we be my business partner, who always have ideas for investments. Here is my WhatsApp number.
Wait,
that lucky parson.
So they thought we were like cute and they wanted to like.
It says, I personally feel that meeting you was divine. Excuse me, we've never met. You're presuming a lot.
Yeah.
But yes, I am divine. Anyway, so yeah, send us some emails, send us any stories you have. There's a couple people that like have commented on our posts and stuff that has been really great.
Shout out to Lars.
Yeah, Lars always has fun stuff to say. So thanks, bud.
Thanks.
He recommended a movie to us today. I can't remember what it was called, but I'm very excited to watch it because it's about. It mentions something from your Bigfoot story, or it's like a reenactment of that scene with the
hand. Yeah.
The Bigfoot reaching through the window. Some good shit.
I saw that today.
So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it.
Oh
Get
God,
ready
I'm tired.
yeah, let's see, what time is it now? It's 11:47. Holy shit, we are not watching a movie tonight.
You're not.
Are you gonna try?
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Okay, well I guess we're watching a movie tonight. All right, well we'll see you guys next week. Let's go make some popcorn.
I bet.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.